You know, you're looking at the win. However, if you're in players like such as DOOI and SIB who are just about to go in, they're looking at this one matchup, and however the rest of the bracket goes, whatever. Like, the objective is to get or stay in stage number 2. We're going to be staying or starting with SIB in this situation, who's actually going in with the Doomslayer, so never mind.
I love the good rail right there, but I also love the movement earlier with the plasma and double jump here. He's going to have to pop Berserk to get out of there. A lot of LG pressure coming out early from DOOI, but it won't amount to much. Just good damage, good aggression in the first 30 seconds here as we start off on Blood Covenant between these two. Relegation action at Quake Pro League.
Now, some initial damage, SIB. The problem is missing those rails. It is that combination. Even if you're the one that has the rail and the opponent doesn't, if you're missing those shots and they're just constantly peppering you with machine gun constantly, especially if they've got the heavy machine gun,
brutal.
The damage adds up really quick, and it almost makes you just feel bad for missing those shots. But he's not going to miss that rail or that one. DOOI now taking 2 of them. However, SIB can still tank 2 more, but he's got to be really careful at this stage.
He ran out of rails too. Can't fight back.
Yeah, it just came down to those missed rails at the start, really. They didn't really amount to much, and now he's having to go for heavy machine gun, of which he's landing impressive damage. Now he's going to try and cut him short. Take that heavy first, play no games at all. And DOOI, with a less than desirable stack, you know, after just collecting the Mega, but thanks for some wonderful heavy machine gun from SIB, he's undone quite a significant amount of it. He's now been able to correct the rail shortage by getting some more of the ammo. And now, you know, this Nyx versus Doomslayer, such a classic matchup on Blood Covenant. The double jump from Doom and the wall jump from Nyx, it just gives you that extra, I guess, element of freedom.
Yeah, hypermobility, especially in this middle area here, as we see the jump over right there. SIB trying to close the gap here, trying to get this first frag. DOOI on the run, no armor, pretty weak here. Both items are up. SIB trying to suss out exactly where DOOI's going, but he's going to give up on the chase for now and just grab that heavy. Items will be split between the players. We'll see if any damage comes out through the telling. It does Grood rail from... Ooh, another one too. SIB needs to be careful as DOOI hits 2 quick rails, evening up the stacks.
Very dangerous when you eat a lot of rails forced into the catacombs, purely because, you know, you can very easily get stuck in no man's land down there. I always feel like the light armor is like too tempting. But
it's too good to be true. Don't go towards the light. There's the Ghost Walk popped. So SIB a little paranoid here, has to be careful for the aggression. Sees the Mega. Is DOOI going to try and tempt fate and go back up? He has to concede and go down lower. Heavy's going to be up as well. It's going to be a race. SIB might be a little bit late, but he should be able to get some damage. Just missing out with that rail. Very close opportunity there to get some chip in. Another nice plasma climb there. I like that. Stylish.
He definitely has the stack to make it work too. Doesn't have to worry too much about the damage he's doing to himself when you've got a stack as large as that, but no frags have happened so far. SIB, I feel like he's the one that's kind of been in control. DOOI, the problem with the Ghost Walk is, you know, once the Ghost Walk is down, you are basically the most vulnerable light champion in the game. It is, in its purest form, a glass cannon effect. DOOI able to get in and out. SIB missing that rail again, just a little bit too short, and unfortunately missing. Actually, either that might have been potentially a fake out.
I'm going to say tactical. Tactical plasma fake jump. 4D strats here as DOOI will miss the rail. SIB jumping over to the rockets here. 3:30 in, still no frags on the board, but lots of rails coming out there. Missing with the second one. I love that play from DOOI there. The fake drop into wall jump into one more rail. That's going to send SIB packing towards the heavy right on time. And again, stacks about even here.
But I mean, at this stage, those individual little rails, I mean, they matter so much. That one, I potentially not so much.
Maybe a little too much style.
Yeah,
going forward a little bit too much.
I kind of felt like perhaps the one near sort of jump pad might have been not so much, because obviously it got DOOI to use the jump pad, which might have set up of a trap situation, as it were. But SIB has to be really careful now, because the self-damage to no avail, plus DOOI hitting the occasional rail here and there, means that SIB is now kind of forced onto this back foot. The missed rail is going to give him at least an indication, hey, look, heavy's been taken, get out of there. But now SIB, wonderful shot, popping the Berserk. Used, I assume, purely just to try and escape in the middle of the rail downtime, just in case DOOI did it. But I wonder if SIB's a little bit too itchy on the trigger finger. Perhaps he's quite nervous.
Nerves could definitely play a part in this here on the big stage. 2 quick rails from DOOI. He's going to try and Ghost Walk and get this frag. The Mega is taken by SIB. Another great attempt at a rail there. SIB falling down into the pillars. Almost halfway in, catch up, and it's still 0-0.
Having a real hard time with those vertical rails. And
Wow.
you know what? I anti-cursed it. The opposite. Today's opposite day.
It is. Bring it back. Say it enough, and then they'll do the opposite. I love it.
SIB is definitely going to not hit the next rail. There you go. How about that?
I like that. We'll see how it plays out. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. There's a rail from DOOI. SIB is like, which one of y'all kick me? He's going to grab the 50 shard down in the pillar area. Use that lift to get back up onto the third area here. Very important to control kind of the middle of the map. You can hear a lot from over there. As he smells them. He wants that rocket.
I feel like neither player have been super focused on... Did you see that?
I'm seeing fireworks catch
Wow.
up, all right? Because this is Quake Pro League action here.
this is-
0-0, but...
This is November.
Intense.
This is the month for it. This is the month for fireworks, if you're in the UK anyway. I don't know about the rest of the world. Looking for a rail. Hasn't got hit its mark. But I feel like a constant problem is, like, SIB hasn't been able to hit, I think, enough consistent rails to make DOOI nervous. But at the same time, DOOI hasn't got SIB weak enough, I think, to make him confident with pushing in. I feel like that confidence might start to shift a little bit. As you can clearly see, DOOI sitting on an impressive stack. And SIB, as the longer this map is going, he's kind of starting to miss more and more. Some opening damage with the rocket. But once more, looks like DOOI is just more interested in just running this rotation of items. He has a wonderful stack. Ghost Walk is available too. By all means, DOOI has the tools to go in for the kill if he wants to, but he has to set it up first.
Yeah, he's not going to go in unless it's perfect here. He doesn't want to risk a thing. 6:30 in and still tied at 0-0 neck and neck here. As the SIB trying to hit some rails exchange, nothing will land. Watching his back, making sure at any given moment that the Ghost Walk play doesn't come out from DOOI, but again, DOOI already popped it, and now kind of stuck out in the middle here. Working that pole, there's the MG into rail, good damage, but DOOI has the Mega to negate that damage. And now this could be potential to push in again without the Ghost Walk, a little bit dangerous here, about 10 seconds until that comes back, and the clock keeps on ticking. 7 minutes in, no frag. Are we going to see a 1-0 catch-up?
I can't remember the last time I saw one of those 40.
Whenever DOOI played. Am I right?
But
notorious
DOOI,
for playing defensive here.
He's not afraid to, and historically his champion pool would kind of reflect that style too, back when it was rounds. And, you know, it was specific champions that you would pick, but now it's timed. That style becomes, I mean, I haven't seen someone play at this much of a snail's pace all day, and Nyx is such an extended arm of that style where, you know, she has that get out of jail free card almost, thanks to Ghost Walk. Here comes a bit more of an exchange. DOOI, he's going to get the luxury soon of just delaying it up until the point where one frag matters. If he just keeps a good stack, he could really just play this long game, and if you're SIB, I wonder if that might start to frustrate you.
That rail is definitely going to frustrate him as he peeks and eats one in the face. Needs to be careful as we're getting close to the 8-minute mark here. Another rail, 7
good
HP,
shot
and now
to
he's on the
return.
run. And I think DOOI missed the jump over.
SIB, fortunately though, was able to exchange and return the favor. Looks like he has to watch his back though, because here comes a DOOI, missing the opening rail, and using the aggressive Ghost Walk probably means we're going to lose another minute before anything happens. I don't see DOOI at all trying to do anything unless he has that Ghost Walk to back him up.
I think at the last second he heard that invis and he was like, oh my god, he's chasing me, he's behind me. It's a horror movie, so well done to SIB to hear that. Make sure there's no damage except for that rail. It was fantastically placed onto DOOI here. Adding more chip damage, trying to eat away at that stack. DOOI with a rail of his own. Now the rails come out from both players. DOOI's going to drop down on the second level, trying to hit these rails. Can't find them. 8:40 in this. 0-0. Great little rail there.
I gotta say, I love the angle to do the drop down, but then get the double jump to gain that extra space. I feel like it really caught DOOI off guard. The strength of just even the smallest bit of movement that some extra champions bring to the table. Just like that, SIB put himself in a level of control if he wants to take this. Heavy's about to spawn. DOOI knows he's too weak. And, I mean, Ghost Walk, losing Ghost Walk now when there's limited escape options, kind of risky. There's 1 minute left on the clock. This crazy slow game, we're going to see who's going to get it. I guarantee this is probably going to go down to a 1-0. Just like you said, 40. It's been the time limit for it.
I mean, DOOI's no stranger to that, and he's not afraid of it. 9:20 on the board, 0-0. He's going to wait for the perfect opportunity, and SIB is okay with just running these items and maintaining that advantage in the stack. 1 second till the heavy. There's a great rocket rail combo. DOOI in trouble now. There's a rocket jump up. Is SIB going to pursue this?
Looking
If
for
he
the
catches
chase.
him out. Ooh, This could be it. Is the chase going to be... Oh, the read is not there. The rocket, a little bit of damage here. Surely this can't be it. 68 HP, and DOOI gets the rail up the jump pad, and you can see the emotion on SIB's face as he rolls his eyes, and DOOI just has to kneel for 10 seconds here. SIB has to catch him out 8 seconds and counting.
He's not doing a bad job, but fundamentally we're going to see if he can actually catch it in time, all down to a final fight. And SIB finds him. And
Look at that.
That's how much that meant to DOOI, playing the absolute long game. And it almost backfired right at the last second. What a heartbreaker that would have been. But the thing is, a great mental toll can come from maps that go that way. If you're the winner, you're pumped. I mean, clearly, you can see the proof's in the pudding when it comes to DOOI. You saw how much that win meant to him.
Absolutely.
But that was just map 1. If you're SIB, and you've just tried to play this game for 10 minutes, it only came down to 1 frag, and at the last second, it really could have gone either way.
It might be a long day, but DOOI's such a competitor, stayed in the pocket, stayed focused, waited for the perfect opportunity. It doesn't matter how you win, as long as you win. That's 1-0 right there, and I'm not just talking about the kills. That's up a map for DOOI right now, and that was such a close one. That was a slow grind, a war of attrition, if you will.
But it is, by all means, I think one of the more frustrating maps to lose, when you tried so hard and
got so far. But in the end, it didn't even matter.
You know, the moment I said it, I just, my sixth,
we locked eyes and we knew what was happening.
My sixth sense told me you would finish that sentence for me.
Of course.
But yeah, if you're the kind of player that put all that effort into, I mean, how that map went by the end, there's also that thing that tells you in your head, man, I just did all that and I didn't win.
All that work and I don't get the W. I mean, that one crack in the armor, that's really all it was. Most of the fights were pretty close. Good rails exchanged from both sides. All it took was that last fight. And it wasn't even necessarily an all-in. It was a bit of a misplay, maybe mismovement. Going up the jump pad so vulnerable. The rockets didn't really land for SIB like he wanted. And then DOOI just takes the knee for the last 10 seconds because the fight was so close to the end of it. So absolutely brutal. I think a bit of a devastating defeat, as you said. But you got to wipe the hard drive clean and go into the next map and just be like, that didn't happen, whatever.
It's definitely easier said than done. I know for sure. It's just, you know,
lingering in the back of your mind.
You can always say, just forget about it, mate. But with just how much is at stake for these matches.
Yeah. Did we mention that this is for the Quake Pro League spot?
Yeah.
DOOI fighting his way into the league, SIB trying to make sure that doesn't happen, and that's off to a rocky start for him. As we get into the second map, look, that's what it's all about. This whole weekend, glorious, glorious title belt there. Of course, Kilson already etched his name on it. Can he do it again? Kilson might look so nice that he did it twice. We'll see. DOOI versus SIB, map number 2 coming up right now. Relegation action here at Quake Pro League Stage 1 Finals. And we are on Molten Falls. We got Visor, we got Anarchy, and we are live with DOOI now as he drops down onto the rail immediately. He's going to grab that 50 shard. And I like this play because it delays the heavy just a little bit, and you deny that 50 armor to your opponent.
I feel quite interested, I suppose, that the champion pick for me really does sometimes reflect the style. And yeah, that was a little bit of a head shake from DOOI. Really should have hit that rail. SIB kind of moving, strafing, really just jump in straight down. Would have been an easy shot. But look at the 2 champions that have been selected, right? DOOI's gone in for the Visor, SIB's gone in for the Anarchy. SIB is not afraid to be aggressive when need be. He really does relish some of those aggressive champions, and even when he plays Clutch, he can use Clutch really aggressively too. And then you look at the fact that the Visor's gone in from DOOI. That almost suggests immediately DOOI's going to play that, again, patient man's game, the game of control, the game of taking a fight only when absolutely necessary, and then using the piercing sight to gain that information, whereas SIB's Anarchy, I mean, you know, this is the champ that just plays high octane. It is that style.
Absolutely. A lot of the time, a player will get a rail or a rocket and be like, all right, I got to go in on that. DOOI's the type of player to be like, that's still not the best opportunity for me, and here comes a rocket from SIB, almost getting that frag, kind of catching him off guard. DOOI not ready for it. Luckily survives, but those are some great rockets.
Well, maybe that's going to be one of the solutions, is those temporary moments where SIB can, unless rockets like that connect. My point was that SIB is, you know, in that instance, forced the situation. DOOI's trying very hard to play this map at his own pace, and then here comes SIB just out of nowhere, putting a spanner in the works and saying, no, you're going to play it a little bit differently to how you want.
Yeah, and DOOI with a perfect punish on that rocket around the corner. Good rail as well. As the vision's popped, he has all the information he needs, trying to protect this 50 shard, make sure that he doesn't lose out on it. And he, that's a big win for him as he didn't have any armor. Heavy's going to be up next, and he has perfect position for it, just waiting by the stairs in LG. And more importantly, he's grabbing these shards to get vision back.
Yeah, by all accounts, SIB should be, I think, doing the guessing
What a
situation.
rocket.
Wonderful rocket, by the way. I was going to say, at the very least, SIB got hit by such an early rail. Probably an indication that was a piercing sight shot, so you can have to budget. Maybe he's going to have the ability back. Kind of irrelevant now, because he's been able to collect those hourglasses. A wonderful spawn if you're DOOI. Terrible if you're SIB, who just desperately has to try and find some light armor at this stage. Very vulnerable to rails. With even a Mega and no armor against someone who's hitting great rails is not a comfortable situation.
I like this cycle that DOOI has. He's kind of playing this side of the map where he has the 50 shard into the heavy armor, so he's always going to have a decent stack of armor even after the fight, and he's making SIB kind of figure out how to attack this position as he's holding this side of the map. Vision available again, DOOI holding on to it for the time being.
I kind of respect this positioning, though. He knows that SIB's not going to have a lot of armor. So maybe if SIB doesn't have information, he's going to try and double back and collect one of those lights to get himself ready for a fight. Heavies and Mega have spawned simultaneously, right? So maybe the thought process is, well, surely DOOI's going to be at just one of the main pickups. I'll just get a light and then come through. SIB didn't really take the bait, but the ideas are there, right? He's looking to spring those traps.
1-0 here. Nice and slow, as we saw from the first map. DOOI not afraid to dictate the pace of the game. Finally giving up this side of the map a little bit, as Heavy's going to be up next. Vision's popped as he's trying to figure out exactly where SIB is so he can lay down his attack. And I think SIB is just going to give up the Heavy. He's like, it's quiet, too quiet. And actually, DOOI waits too long, gives up the Heavy, but he hits a great rail as SIB goes up the jump pad, and DOOI's going to make his way over to the Mega instead. So items traded a little bit, but that's okay because DOOI still has an incredible stack. Doesn't have vision, and SIB now has inject, so he can possibly use it for mid-round fight or to escape if need be.
Wonderful rocket and the rail to combo. SIB popping the injection to be aggressive, but he's going to hit by a defensive rail at the very least. Trying to pepper something, but once more SIB hitting some important rails. Something he's been a little bit inconsistent with so far. Okay, and here's the fight. SIB going full speed ahead, but he's going to just get melted away by that LG from DOOI. He was not afraid to just sit there and defend.
Yeah, held his ground with the LG and it worked out. SIB maybe a little bit over anxious there. Now he's going to eat a rail 430 in and he's extremely weak. DOOI not looking that healthy either, no armor, but he is going to get the Heavy shortly after this 50 shard pickup. Uses the vision to try and get some information on SIB. Keep him at bay. He's going to delay the Heavy by a lot. He's actually going to play towards the Mega and try and do some damage. One lone rocket won't land, and he's going to have to double back to try and get this Heavy.
DOOI hasn't been particularly worried about SIB collecting those major pickups just yet. Yeah, he's not even going to bother try to follow through, but he's going to get punished for that missed rail. SIB taking some free damage. Full speed ahead round the corner, and he catches him off guard. That was a, just no holds barred right there. That's SIB saying, look, 5 minutes on the clock. I'm not going to let you simply just sit there and run that defense like he did all the way through map number 1.
And I like the idea from DOOI. He wanted to play around the corner, get a good pop rocket. Unfortunately, he couldn't lock it and drop it. So SIB gets that frag. Body block not working out, and he's going to get the Heavy. The stack's going to be pretty good as he makes his way over towards the tribal area, trying to figure out exactly where DOOI is. He wants another frag. There's a rocket. Misses with the follow-up rail. Good initial rocket, though.
There's just this element that Anarchy brings to the table, which is just round corners, I think, is one of his greatest strengths. Yeah, because fundamentally, that air control means if you catch him off guard with a grounded rocket, his air movement pretty much remains unaffected. You need to hit some really good shots to do damage to him. And at the same time, if he's going full speed ahead and catches you off guard, it's like direct C. I've kind of actually lost count how many times I see Anarchy fly around this corner specifically and just bam, bam, dead. Here comes the LG 1v1. SIB missing the rail, looking for another one. But at the same time, DOOI swapping to the rocket, so no damage really traded out in that situation. But oh, perfect positioning from DOOI. He knows that SIB's going to go full speed around the corner, and he had the LG ready just to knock him up in the air.
Perfect defensive rocket, though. SIB knew he took a lot of damage. He's like, DOOI's coming in after me. There's one rocket, and that'll stop DOOI in his tracks. Flick rail won't land. The return rail from DOOI won't land. Around the corner, the rocket splash. SIB's advantage there. Again, missing with another flick rail. Still down by 1. Time is ticking. Plenty of time to bring this back as the aggressive rocket jump comes out into the inject. Hits a great rail around the corner there.
He's going for the chase. But he knows that DOOI's been holding these positions in the past and catching that damage. SIB kind of thinking twice about it, actually.
Here's the mega pickup as he's out under him. Can he just follow him through? Oh, DOOI knows. There's the damage and the rail. 12 HP, just like that in a blink of an eye. SIB is crippled and hurting, bleeding internally. Needs to try and figure out how to get some health back as he's still alive. DOOI, look at that stack.
Well, the problem is in this situation is just that SIB, when you get caught off guard and going in for a rocket jump, there are elements of just a little bit of failed execution here. Maybe SIB wants to go a bit faster, but self-damage in this situation when DOOI is as stacked as he is, I mean, if he caught him around the corner there with a rail, he was dead, like deleted.
Yeah, maybe a little bit careless here. 2:30 left on the board. DOOI does have the frag lead, and as we've seen before, DOOI's not afraid to just say, I'm going to play defensive, and you need to bring the fight to me. So you can go ahead and have these items, but every time you come in, I'm going to hit you with rail, I'm going to hit you with rocket. And you're not going to get the stack advantage on this fight. There's a decent rocket there. As DOOI actually coming in like a wrecking ball. The rockets from SIB are good into the machine gun. I expected a rail, but unfortunately nothing. DOOI's so hurt, but so is SIB. And again, not the fight he wanted, not the ending to the fight he wanted, but good damage on both ends.
For me, that swap to the heavy machine gun, it kind of spells a little bit of lack of confidence, where because he's been consistently swapping to rail and missing those shots, either he thought that DOOI was weaker than he was and a machine gun would have finished it, or it was, I've been missing quite a few of these rails and I really want to get this kill, so maybe if I swap to the heavy machine gun, I have a higher chance of landing it. You know, most players out there at this stage probably would have just gone in for that. I assume they probably would have gone in for rocket into rail combo. SIB, 110 HP now, thanks to the increase in HP with injection. He's looking a little bit better, but he's very weak indeed. 20 health, he's got to do something about that. And stat, he's running out of time to make something happen too. They're going for the small health bubbles. Perhaps doubling back for the health bubbles might have been a bit of a mistake because DOOI was on the warpath and he punishes it accordingly.
I love how he popped the vision of the Mega, got the rail in, and now he gets the frag. 3-1, comfortable lead, 1 minute left, up by 2. DOOI in the driver's seat. There's a great rail, maybe a follow-up, but there's the vision again. He doesn't even need this opening. Oh, and he misses. That would have been another frag, and that might have sealed it. Still an opening for SIB, but he's extremely weak. He needs to try and manage resources as best he can and get these frags. There's the heavy pickup, but time is ticking.
Looking at DOOI's stack as well. He can play as slow and defensive as he wants. He just needs to survive a fight, maybe get an extra frag if he fancies it, and that'll be pretty much, you know, the nail in the coffin, as it were. 30 seconds left, 2 frags to make up for an impressive stack for DOOI, and the fact that before this map is over, he's going to get a piercing sight. This one may as well be a 2-0.
There's the push, maybe a little bit too late here as he still doesn't find the frag. SIB's extremely weak, and DOOI, look at this. He's just playing it patiently, not panicking at all. 15 seconds. I think he knows he has this in the bag as long as he doesn't give up anything right here. And with 10 seconds left, I think it's over. It's over. DOOI's doing it.
Man was oh,
too much
GG's. But no, he was definitely not using piercing sight to line up a shot there. It was just to get that, I guess, back and forth rhythm that someone tries to get when there's a jump pad and somewhere else to go. Waited for SIB to turn around and then just, I'm out of here, you know, and doubled back. But if you're DOOI in that situation, he's going to be feeling pretty good at this point.
He's all
once
smiles.
more, it was a very, very slow map for another time. You thought maybe Anarchy would have almost like been able to break the wheel, you know, to kind of like change the way DOOI was approaching, but again, it's that Visor pick. The moment Visor gets selected, you kind of know exactly how DOOI's going to approach this, and no risks taken, no need to overextend. SIB had some moments of greatness, but yeah.
That was really the only part where SIB's aggression worked out. Every other time SIB tried to push in, just DOOI had all the answers and was hitting the appropriate shots. And again, he plays that plus back style so well because he's like, I'm going to allow you to try and frag me, but I'm going to hit these rockets, I'm going to hit these rails, I'm going to keep you out, and I'm going to play my game and dictate the pace of the entire duel.
But now the potential of our first 3-0 of the day. How realistic do you think we might have here?
It could happen. DOOI's playing very strong. I gotta think that it's frustrating SIB a little bit. I mean, constantly just getting hit with defensive rockets and rails as you're trying to aggress and trying to finish your frags. It's got to wear on you, but we'll see. We've seen crazier things happen with the series today, but DOOI is looking strong. He wants to make that mark. He's like, Quake Pro League, that spot's mine. It's got my name on it.
To me, especially when you factor in Americas too, is that this kind of like extreme slow pace, it's not really something that is very characteristic of that part of the world. At least,
are you saying we're overly aggressive?
I'm not saying you're overly aggressive. I'm
you
just
need
saying
to know when to be aggressive and when not to be aggressive.
I am talking it. But in this situation, like DOOI, he just brings such a snail's pace to the game. Interested to see about the third map, just to refresh my memory as we go in. We'll see what champions he selected.
I mean, he is a baseball fan, so maybe that's why he's used to kind of the slower pace of things of this nature.
I mean, we all get our inspiration from somewhere, don't we?
Oh, absolutely.
Here,
that's
there,
where you
and
get
everywhere.
his competitive drive from and everything, but this seems to be, and granted, I'm not going to call this early, still a lot of room. I mean, it's a lot of work for SIB, but if this happens, if this is a 3-0, this is a full changing of the guard today. All the challengers have stepped up.
But
is anyone going to be able to defend their spot?
We're almost there. We're in a position at the moment where I really strongly believed, and I guess I still do believe, now I have the unfair advantage of seeing how these two maps have gone, that this very well could be a 3-0, and that this is one of those matchups. DOOI's going in for the Sorlag, and we've been talking about playing the game at snail's pace. Well, welcome to Blood Run. And Sorlag picked as well. Oh, baby!
As this could be the final map of the series, DOOI versus SIB, map number 3. DOOI wants that Quake Pro League spot here as he's waiting outside the tele exit. Spit ready, rocket armed. Heavy is up, but he's going to leave it. He's just waiting patiently. He's actually going to grab this 50 and make his way around to the floor. And there's a great rocket through the tele. The timing on that has to hurt.
And, I mean, it definitely wasn't about the damage, was it? It was about just knocking SIB away from the heavy and allowing Sorlag to... What a rocket as well! 100 outright. SIB, I mean, this has to be quite frustrating because anyone that has seen or watched, Luca Comics and Games, Quake Champions, you've seen Sorlag or Blood Run, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is a pretty famous combination for this kind of tournament just because of players that have been in attendance historically. Sorlag is such a beast at using that momentum and that stack, and that rail was tasty. But it's a combination of all of the things that makes a naturally defensive map, and she just plays it perfectly. It's no wonder DOOI once more has gone in with this pick.
Yeah, DOOI loves him some Sorlag here. 1 minute in, 1-0. There's a good rail from SIB there. A little bit of rocket damage returned by DOOI. But Mega's going to spawn first. Slight delay between the items here. But again, on Blood Run, it's so easy to make the path between them, either rocket jumping up after Mega or dropping down, taking full control of the map. And SIB needs to do his best to make sure that doesn't happen. There's a Mega pickup, and look at that, just like that. The advantage is to SIB, but with that rail and this spit, that's going to keep him out and chew away at that advantage.
And as we all know, the ticking over time until SIB stopped the bleeding with those health bubbles, those ticking of acid, just giving DOOI the information, the tick globally across the map. That rocket, 100 damage. How many of these wonderful magic rockets is DOOI going to hit in such a short space of time? Full speed ahead, misses the rail. Had that rail connected, SIB would have been in a horrendous spot. But if anything, DOOI maintains the stack.
DOOI's got the donks right now with the rockets as SIB waiting outside the tele exit. There's some preemptive spit, trying to get some dot damage, maybe some preemptive information, but SIB plays it well and just waits for the rail, hits another one as well. Wally goes down, SIB absolutely crippled. Needs to be careful, he's going to get caught out in the nail room. Somehow these rockets aren't landing and the rail doesn't land either. How does SIB survive?
You know that DOOI in his head right now is asking the question. How are you still alive in that situation? Misses the rail twice in a row. A little bit of frustration coming out from DOOI, knowing these shots should be missed. Misses 3. Very uncharacteristic of him, to be fair. Missing shots of this caliber. That's going to make it a 4.
Switch to shotgun, please. Oh, no.
Rail. If this turnaround happens, this will be a really big turn of momentum from SIB. I mean, as if it hasn't been already. He's been able to re-establish some of the control now. He's got a decent amount of stack versus DOOI at the same time, and some temporary blunders here from DOOI, missing 4 too many rail shots in a row. 5 now. Oh, God. 6. I'm going to just stop cursing it, I suppose.
Well, Wally's disposed of very quickly here, but yeah, as SIB walks through the Valley of the Shadow of Death, I don't know how he survived, but he did, and he turned it around, and now he has the advantage. But can he get the frag? 3:30 in, and we're going to need a frag to send this into potential overtime. And I'm sure DOOI's no stranger to, I'll take this 1-0 if I have to. Don't you make me. I will take it.
I mean, I truly feel like in this situation that DOOI is ultimately, it's pure black and white. What happens when you miss rails like that? Because we've seen how much dominance DOOI establishes when he's hitting those crazy shots. He's keeping SIB behind. The moment he's missing pretty much every rail at this moment. Look at how much more room SIB has to just run his way in. And oh no, DOOI timing the Mega perfectly. SIB really trying to go in for the kill. And to be fair, does a lot of damage, and the re-pick up with a super shotgun, very important. The heavy is going to be his reward at the same time. Spawning near the LG means SIB has to show quite a lot of respect to this. Hasn't heard the jump pad yet, so he knows he has a little bit of free room. DOOI being hyper-aggressive, he does not want to give up this Mega. He's going to push his way in. The turret isn't quite going to do the job, because he's just out of the angle. And as the Mega's going to spawn, DOOI should be able to correct that damage and go in, but he's very weak. Taking away the Mega. He's weak. SIB finishes it with the rail. And he knows it's going to land. There we go. Heavy's going to spawn now too. Quite back and forth so far, 40.
Yeah, it's, pace is starting to pick up here. SIB looking alive a little bit again. DOOI just waiting outside that tele exit, just waiting to hit him with the rocket, shotgun, spit combo of death. SIB going to make his way through the other tele. Here's the heavy pickup. 10 seconds till his Wally, and there it is with the 2 shards. It'll be right back up. Missed rail down the hallway here. SIB drops down looking for another one. The Mega is up. There's the Wally for a little bit of insurance, and there's the rail as well as it forces DOOI up the jump pad. Tick damage will give SIB away for the time being as he goes through into the nail room. LG on LG. DOOI had the advantage on that one. Stacks about even. After all of that, there's a great rail. Can you find another one here?
For me, I know you said that the advantage was DOOI's, but that's another classic DOOI fight, which is, yeah, I know I had a decent position. I'm still not going to push that, though. I'm still going to try and sort of play the defensive game. I'm still going to try and hit my defensive angles, right? There's always an escape plan added. Speaking of which, DOOI going around near Rocket is going to be the objective. Hits a rail. SIB unable to land the second in time before DOOI goes to the teleporter. That 5-minute warning is long gone. We're past the halfway point of what could be the final map. For those that are just joining, if DOOI wins this map, it will be a 3-0 to him, and he will be relegating SIB from Quake Pro League until Stage 2. See if he can maintain this. DOOI's been in such good form today. SIB's just trying to really fight back any way he can, just getting pushed away from Mega just a little bit. Should be able to take it, but I feel like at this point, it's because DOOI wants him to take it.
Yeah, DOOI might start playing hyper defensive here. 4 minutes left. With Sorlag on Blood Run, it's very possible. Chasing down's going to be hard. There's a great rocket. There's a great start, but with the tick damage, absolutely brutalizing SIB. He has to go get the 225s. DOOI smells blood. There's a great rocket down on the jump pad next to heavy machine gun, and that's going to be 4-2 and a great rail off the spawn. Needs to worry about the Wally. That's an incredible amount of damage as Wally pops off. DOOI with 25 HP, barely surviving, 225s to work with, maybe an additional one in the nail room, and SIB has to feel good about that. He has to have heard that. Now he has to chase. Can he get this frag?
You have to look at the clock and we realize there is definitely still time to make this comeback. Now, this is a naturally defensive map, yeah, sure, but if you get one frag and then a pretty decent spawn, who knows what can happen? Especially if the deficit is only 2. However, rail's going to connect. Turret's going to get deleted. DOOI now looking for an angle, but unfortunately gives himself up to SIB, who is looking for an angle of his own. And now DOOI has to be defensive again. Fortunately about this room, you got a lot of audio properties where you can kind of hear where a lot of people are coming from, so not a bad room to fortify in. SIB, nice level of stack, and I guess that in turn might be control here.
Wally goes down 4-2. DOOI still a bit of a commanding lead on this map. There's the rocket. SIB trying to force the situation, and he does. Gets that frag 4-3, and I think he really needed that. 2.5 minutes left. That's plenty of time to get the 1, but he still needs that. Mega's coming up shortly after Heavy. He has the position. There's the Wally down and the rocket jump up. He's going to be able to secure both items, and can he catch him out? As DOOI escapes through the elbow. There's a little bit of LG, and he drops back down. And the Outlaw seems to be on the run here. Look at that. A little style on him.
The moment those rails fail to connect versus Sorlag 2, it can be quite a, I think, kill to morale. You're so used to that being like one of the larger champions, right? So it's like, hey, larger champion, easier angle, but she's got a very unorthodox body shape to a lot of champions. I kind of feel like on this map,
don't you body shame her.
It's very easy to, it's very easy to kind of accidentally hit a wrong angle. Not going to happen for SIB now, though, as he is going to land the shot all the same. But once again, I have to stress, time is not on his side. He has just over a minute and a half to make something happen. The entry rockets, but this is a terrible hallway to get caught in. He has to try and stop the bleeding using the health bubbles, but DOOI, weak himself. Oh, if he just hits a rail angle, that might have actually had the chance to land the frag. But, I mean, SIB, he's just trying to focus on staying alive, right? He's so weak in this situation. Here comes the heavy.
This is getting so dangerous. A minute 15 here, down by a frag. The pressure mounting on SIB. He is going to get another cycle of both items. But again, the Outlaw on the run here. SIB needs to find the angle of the dangle, and a frag he might wrangle. But he needs to get it. A minute left. This is for his spot in Quake Pro League. Is DOOI just going to kneel and run out the clock? SIB on the hunt right now.
This would certainly be a demoralizing way, I think, to lose your spot. All right, turret.
Wow.
Wow. Turret,
Is this going to be it?
The kill, surely. No, the suicide, the trade. That trade. I mean, I'm inclined to say that benefits DOOI. The entry damage that was coming from that turret, SIB, I mean, he had that. There was just no damage coming his end. So the time that allowed the rocket to come through, that really should not have been a situation. And I really feel that was a choke from SIB.
And this could be catastrophic here. Still down by a frag, 30 seconds. DOOI with just defensive rockets, gives up the heavy, says take the items and let me get the W. 20 seconds left as he's going to play in the nail room now. Just playing keep away. And the Outlaw literally running his way into Quake Pro League. There's one rail he's going to go through the telly, and now it's just a game of tag. Can SIB catch up? 9 seconds. I don't think he's going to be able to do it. The spit's up for DOOI as well. With 5 seconds left, I think DOOI has done it with a sweep. 3-0, making his way into Quake Pro League, popping off. DOOI has done it.
And I feel like that's just such an amazing result for him. SIB, he's going to be devastated. He's not going to be happy about it, but I guess fundamentally, you know, in a tournament